Hi guys, Shelly here with Shelly Quilts. I was needing to make a quilt label, so I made one and I thought you guys might want to see how this works also. There's so many ways to go about this. I'm going to start by going into the art canvas side. It'll take just a minute to launch. That was up here, the little paintbrush. And that's where the Coreldraw side of the software is. I'm going to come into the vector shapes and I'm just going to select a hexagon and I'm going to make it a six-sided. I'm going to hold down the left key and drag to draw the hexagon so that it's somewhat symmetrical. And I'll push the P on the keyboard so that it became centered. I'm going to make the lines thicker. So I came up here and I'm going to just choose a thicker style of line. And now while that's selected, I'm going to say convert. And so now you'll see that very quickly I have a nice satin line. I can come down and I'm going to use the up arrow and just change the color of that to a bright green. So this came in as a satin stitch and actually it came in quite nice. I'm going to push 0 on the keyboard so that I get to the middle. And now I'm going to add some lettering. And so I'm going to right click on lettering. That opened the object properties so that I could type in the words for my quilt label. January 2020. Yeesh. And I'll just say okay. And then I'll click. Now I'm going to change that, but just as a beginning, here is my lettering. And I can change this lettering by the handles on this sides, the drag and drop handles. I could come up and just use, while it is selected, I could use the width and height box. I could swipe out and make it a certain size like that. I could go back in by double clicking and open the object properties about the lettering and tell it that I would like it justified in a different way. Right now it's left justified, there's right justified. I'm going to say center justified and say apply. So that would make it so that it's in the middle. This came in as one big object because I typed it that way. But I'm going to reselect it and I'm going to come over to the edit toolbox. And I can come down and say break apart. And now I have 3 lines of text and they are still text. So I could situate, move those. I was double clicking instead of single clicking. So let's say that I like this spacing inside of my hexagon and I want it to be evenly spaced. So I'm going to close my properties box and come over to the arrange. And I could say, let's select all of the text right here in the color film. So that selected all of it. And I'm going to scroll down and say space evenly down. So now it's evenly spaced. I think I'm going to do this again a little bit lower. This one maybe a little bit higher because we're going to change it a little bit more. So just playing with these letters, that's fine, but it's not very dynamic. So I'm going to come back and I'll say space evenly down again. And it's going to space it based on where the top and the bottom are. So on the 3 of those, before I group them, let's take those and let's align the centers vertically. So now I know those 3 lines are spaced correctly again. And then I can select these, right click and group, and then select Control A so that everything is selected, and I could line centers horizontally and vertically. So now I know that those letters are exactly in the middle of that quilt. Since I broke these apart, I'm going to left click and ungroup them now, and I'm going to go back and get just Shelly Fitzgerald, my name, and I'm going to left click twice, and that opens the object properties, and I'm going to scoot it over so that we can see it a little bit here. We're just playing, that's all. And I'm going to come down and just choose another font. And if the font has the red zigzag, then it's a pre-digitized font. If I scroll way down to the bottom and come up with the ones that have a TT, then those are true type fonts. So let's just see, I want one that looks like handwriting. So let's just see, they have a preview here as to what those fonts might look like. Here, Belleville. Let's try that one, and I'll say apply. That's nice. So I think I'll click on that. I'm going to hold my shift key, and that makes it grow from the center out to make that bigger. Yep, a little bit too big, I think. So there we go. This is part 1 of what will be several part video creating quilt labels, playing with different techniques in the BERNINA version 8 software. If you enjoyed this, awesome. Let me know. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find me on my website. You know where to look for me, I hope. So Shelly Quilts in all the different formats. And be sure and check back for part 2 and probably part 3, maybe part 4. Playing with lettering and creating a quilt label. Bye.